round of the Express Entry Live Q&A. Yes, we do talk about all matters related to Canadian immigration, but let's face it, Express Entry is really driving the ship over the last few weeks and will all the way through until spring comes when Minister Fraser, right here, will be starting his targeted draws. Stay tuned, more to come. Well, everybody, yes, indeed. Yesterday, I did a video, and you can catch it over here, right here on the Canadian Immigration Institute YouTube channel. Well, I did it across all platforms, but this one, right? Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. New Express Entry 2.0. I spent quite a bit of time, as you can see. It was an hour and 28 minutes. The last part was answering questions from viewers. But I broke down where Express Entry is really going to be going for the spring, essentially with these targeted draws. How did we know that? Because of this goofy little announcement. And I've had issues, and I've expressed in the video yesterday with Minister Fraser here that the fact that IRCC released this request for feedback from all of us on where the priority should be for the future of Express Entry. Well, you can see our consultation is now closed. Well, I don't even know when it was opened. I'll be honest. It was open for only a very short period of time. And you can see here, when we look at this, it was updated on January the 17th because it closed on January the 16th, which was 2 days ago. And that was the first time that we even realized it happened. So not very cool, Minister. I'm not really impressed with how you guys rolled this out. You're very good about spinning tales and sharing insight on these new programs that you have. But when you're actually seeking feedback, please do it in a genuine fashion. Don't leave it to, carefully and quietly posting something, hoping people won't see so that you don't have to listen to what they have to say. And that's really what happened here. So they say there were stakeholder engagement on Express Entry. And if you want to learn more about this, make sure that you slide over to the YouTube channel, and you can watch this as a recording or wherever you're watching this feed live. So I covered that in length where those priorities are. And yeah, we pretty much know exactly the direction that they're going to go. We know the industries. And if you also go to the YouTube channel, you guys will know that there is the other video that I did on the transitioning of TR to PR. This one right here, which is the main feature video on our site. There's a reason that there's been over almost 47,000 people who've watched it, because it's a complete breakdown of what really the government intends to do this year, 2023, to transition all of you temporary resident folks who are stuck with draws that are not dipping down to where you're at. And it's just, yeah, a lot of mess, isn't it? Indeed. All right. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, but it's open season. We'll definitely focus on Express Entry. And those of you who were watching live yesterday, thanks. And I welcome you back again for today. Those of you who are just new, we're giving people some time to connect in. Looks like we've got YouTube here dominating the show, but please post in the comments where you're tuning in from. I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from, the locations. I love to hear what stage of the application process you're at if you're filing or considering Express Entry. But those are all the topics that we're going to cover today. All right. A few other ground rules. When you're posting questions, it's great to put a Q in front of it, and then I know that it's a question and it's not just you communicating or responding to someone else in the feed, because it can take on a life of itself. So yes, and as always, just a brief shout out that this whole Canadian Immigration Institute is all sponsored by Holthe Immigration Law, and that is my immigration law firm. And we have a great team. I want to give them all a shout out. You can see myself here, Alicia Backman-Bahari, Chanel Rosenbaum, Cedric Marin, and Igor Krylyuk. We also have Prem Dunna, who is our intake specialist, who also is a part of our firm, and we're all immigration lawyers. Igor is just about there. He's working as a paralegal with us, and so much more, but he is well on his way. And if you watch some of the past videos, Igor joined me to talk about his journey, so you can check those out on the YouTube channel. with the videos that we recently launched. All right, so there we go. So that's a little update to get you guys up to speed. Let's see who we've got here tuning in for today. We've got Joseph, who is Joseph Moore, who is from Liberia. Welcome, Joseph. Great to have you here. Maria De Souza from Toronto. Hello, Maria. We've got Dylan Yang is also in Toronto. That is a sweet do, man. Look at that. That is awesome. All right. And then we've got some questions that are coming in already. When you have, let's see who else we've got here. We've got Aisha, who's just chimed in as well. Hello, Aisha. It's good to have you. And Bernard says, hey, Mark, finally in Ottawa after about 2 years in waiting. Oh, there we go. We're going to give you a round of applause, a big round of applause. All right. Syed's got he says, I'm based out of Toronto, recently eligible for CEC. When can we expect CEC specific draws and what score cutoff is expected? I love this prognosticating and, looking into the crystal ball. That's what we do every day, isn't it? Ultimately, we really don't know. Excuse me. We really don't know within the context of the express entry pool. We don't really know how many people are CEC, how many are FSW, federal skilled trade, or even PNP candidates. But the PNPs technically have to be one of those three anyways. So we really don't know what the makeup is. But one thing we do know, and you can see Ali says, we might see a draw happening today. Well, let's take a look here and I'll just show you something. So if we look at the pattern of IRCC, we never know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to just pull this up here. Google knows me well. They know what I'm searching for here. When we look at if we go into the invitations and the rounds of invitations, we can see historically, if we scroll down here and we pull up the previous rounds, okay, we can see we had a big gap, right? So January 11th, so just last week. So it's very rare that they have done 2 draws back to back. So I think it's unlikely that we would see another draw like today. Like we did last week, right at the very end of the live stream, this draw happened, which was kind of fun, and we were able to look at it. But these no program specified draws, you can see they have been pretty consistent all the way since when they restarted doing this in July. So no program specified draws have consistently kind of climbed and climbed with the number of candidates and invitations issued. And this one is a little bit bigger, but in reality, it was almost 3 weeks, I guess, from the previous draw. So the totals went back up. So most of the people I would say that are in the round, like in the pool right now, if we look at the candidates, a lot of them are Canadian experience class. And especially in these ranks through here, 450 all the way up, like there's a lot of Canadian experience class, but there's also a lot of folks overseas that are right in this range of about, well, maybe 471, 72 down through all of here, a lot of FSWs. And you can see we have candidates all the way down. We've even got a few that are from 0 to 300. And hey, when we look at the draw that occurred on February the 13th, the lowest score was actually 75. So they pulled everybody out of the pool. There was a reason for that with the pandemic, but that's the world we're looking at. So it's probably unlikely that we're going to see a draw today, Ali, but hey, he says just a feeling and we'll see. Feelings are fine. Feelings are fine. Okay, let's see what else we have for shout outs here for people who are tuning in. Raj Kumar, good to see you from Toronto. Thanks for connecting in. Let's see what else we have here. We've got Prince, who says, what's up, lads? And he says he's got a quick question, so we'll see what his question is here in a little bit. LMIA available? Well, they are if there's companies that have gone through the process of applying. Okay, let's start off. Only thing I'm glad about IRCC is that they are not firefighters. Good point. That I'm going to give you one of those applauses right there. And definitely Minister Fraser is not a firefighter. And it's good to see you, Rohit. Thanks for connecting in from Toronto. So Shazad, we'll give Shazad a big shout out because he's connecting in on Facebook. So it's good to see the feed is working out there on the Canadian Immigration Institute Facebook page. Hi, Mark. If the work experience is 2 years and 6 months, can the IRCC system give 50 points Or is this a mistake? Because I'm getting 50 points, although it is not 3 years yet. Will this be a problem if I get an ITA? Absolutely it will. So I'm not sure if you're a CEC, if you're an FSW, the extra bonus points for the skill transferability occurs once you hit 3 years of full-time skilled work experience. So I'm not sure exactly what would have happened to trigger that, Shazad. The reality is we often go through and do kind of audits for our clients of their applications when they're just not quite sure what's going on with the system. We know that it is just ripe with problems. You know, it's crazy to think that rolling from a 4-digit code, NOC 2016, to a 5-digit code in the world of tier under NOC 2021 could cause so many problems, but this is the world that we're in. This is the world that we are in. Ray says, hey, Mark, I'm from São Paulo. Ray, olá, muito bom vê-lo. Eu estou tão animado tê-lo conosco hoje. All right, love the Portuguese. One day I'm going to make it down there, Ray. One day. OMG, you actually read out. It's my first time here. This is a live Q&A. I pull all kinds of people in, Prince. So thank you for connecting in and thanks for posting a comment. And guys, one thing I want to tell you, if you see this live and you feel it's helpful, then share it with your friends. Let them know that we are live. So 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern Time in Toronto, Ontario. It is 9 in Pacific Time. So make sure, and on the other side of the ocean, I think it's probably what time? About 10:30, 10:45 in India. Anyways, make sure you share. And of course, on the YouTube channel, like and subscribe, or join the Facebook group, or whatever tickles your fancy. We'd love to connect with you. But yeah, on the YouTube channel, definitely subscribe, and then you can get notified with these lives when we have them. Okay, let's see here. So Hector says, not a question, but will you make a video talking about your experience as a border agent? Will be fun to hear those anecdotes. Oh yeah, that's actually kind of fun. You know, let me think. That would actually be really, really enjoyable. I think I should do that. Thanks, Hector. That's great. I'm going to give you an applause. That would actually be really, really fun. I'm trying to think now, even if, I don't even know if I have, I don't think I have, I'm trying to think if I have a photo of the actual, I think I'd be searching for a while to try to find, let's see if I'm just curious here, if I can find a photo. Probably not. That's pushing it here. I've got too much going on here to try to search for an image, a photo of young Mark at the port of entry. Let's just see here for a second. I'm just going to do a quick little search just out of curiosity to see if I can pull it up. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's always like this, isn't it? Continue posting your questions, everybody. Continue posting them. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just going to try to log in here. Oh, these 2-factor authentication is the death of my, is the death of me. Oh, I know it serves a purpose, but my goodness. Oh boy. Good times. Okay. So let's see here. I think I might be able to find something here. Okay. I think it might be here. Let's see what I got. I'm just pulling up a quick little image here of an old webinar that I did for Express Entry when it was first launched back in 2015. That's how long I've been going at this, you guys. So we're just trying to download the actual webinar here. At least I think I'm trying to do it. Well, oh, there we go. Okay, let's see if I can find a picture here. You guys, you brought it up, so it's not my fault. Let's see if we can zip through this. Let's see. Oh, we're just about there. Okay, I know I had a bunch of old pictures that I shared about my past. And let's see here. Oh yeah, I'm going to share it with you guys so you guys can see kind of what I'm looking at here. I think this is probably the easiest way to do it, is just to do it through here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And it looks like I have I had a visitor. Oh, my visitor is here. Okay, visitor. Come on up. All right, say hi. Say hi. Yeah, Simba needs a haircut, but hey, when it's colder out, it's nice to have a little bit of shag to keep you warm, right? Kiss. Nice. Okay. There we go. We'll let Simba get up there. We'll give him a little light. He likes to get into his spot. I don't have the Simba cam working today, but he's enjoying himself looking out the window. He likes the sun. So that's my Simba. Okay, let me share. I'll share what I was talking about. So I created this for a webinar that I did on Express Entry a long time ago. It's a little bit rough because I'm just pulling it up online. But yeah, so these are some of the pictures of me as a Southern Alberta farm boy. That was kind of fun. There was my we used to raise cows, calves from a young age, and then steers actually is what they were. We would raise them and teach them to lead and take them to the show and sign. I had a nice little Charlet there, and then that's what I did. I didn't used to be so fat. I used to actually be somewhat of an athlete, and so that's me high jumping, which is a passion that I had. Yeah, my best high jump was 205, so that was about 6'9", I guess, but 2 meters 5 centimeters. That was my best in my peak jumping days, which was enough to qualify for way back the Barcelona Olympics. And then there I am at Olympic trials in Montreal years ago. I was obviously a lot smaller than everybody else because I was 5'11". So, well, I still am 5'11". Anyways, and then I played volleyball. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, there's a picture of me playing volleyball, but the one I want to get to is the evolution of how I became an immigration lawyer. So I was a high school teacher, and then I went to law school at the University of Manitoba, and there it is. So that's the actual Chief Mountain Port of Entry. I think that is there. So, and that little office, you can see my mouse. So that was where I was working there. And then there's me with my nice little badge, and I was an immigration officer. And yeah, it was before the border service officer started. So yeah. Oh, do I have stories, you guys? Yes, I do. I have an absolute ton of stories working on the border. And it'd be fun to share that. So thanks, Hector. See what you started, my friends. See what you started. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Yeah, Taylin says, I understand there's a problem in the IRCC system in these days. Do you heard? Taylin, it's a freaking disaster. And our poor minister here, Minister Fraser is a good guy, but the department is a freaking disaster. And the pandemic, it just spiraled. And then I don't know why it is. If our immigration department was private industry and they were a company, my goodness, they would be out of business. They would be shut down a long time ago. So yes, there's multifaceted problems, but a lot of immigration is politics too. It's political. So, we can't blame Minister Fraser for everything, but Minister, my goodness, when you take on that portfolio, that's why we have so many changes in immigration ministers, because it burns you out, doesn't it, Minister Fraser? Yes, it does. But anyways, so moving on. Yeah, that's an understatement to say there's problems within the system. Okay, Rowett says, would it not be a nice idea to give some form of open work permit for laid off temporary workers on closed work permits? It will help them find a new job. Yes, that's a possibility. Our liberal government and the immigration department has been, willing to grant 18-month extensions for postgrad students. And what's the difference between you, who's here on a work permit, and them? So I agree, Rohit. Raman says 483. Should I wait for the scores to come down or apply for September study intake? Raman, I'm going to do one of these ones, which is ringing the bell. And then I'm going to direct you over here. This is an exact situation where you need to click on speak to a lawyer, and it's really easy. All you have to do is just click on here, select the time, and bang, you're good to go. I'm really proud of this. The firm has been around since I started it. I restarted the firm December 2019 after I'd been in a number of different firms and configurations. And I basically started from scratch with just me, December of 2019. And so, I'm really, really proud of the high rating that we have. And anyone who has a five-star rating, well, don't trust it because you're never going to please every single person that comes to you. We try to, but sometimes I have to tell people I can't help you. And sometimes they don't like that, or better yet, sometimes people are not really honest, and I tell them you can't lie, and they don't like that. And so then they leave a lower star rating. But anyways, yes. Okay. So Prince says, yeah, for sure. I'll let them know. Yay. It's 10:45 p.m. Wednesday. Yes, it is. Okay. Well, good to have you. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Like I said, any super chats, I kind of try to bump those up because of the volume that we have here. We don't have any yet. Let's go here. Let's see what else we have. I want to make sure I'm not missing any. Let's see. We've got Fatima says, so Fatima Amor. So Fatima Love, she says, hi, I am doing our online PR application. Me, the spouse, kids, do my husband need to sign the use of representative? No, I don't. No, your spouse doesn't need to sign that. Maybe you can give me a little bit more details, but remember, Fatima, if you're running into any problems, our firm, you can hire our firm to help you make sure that your application is prepared properly. There's nothing worse than getting stuck in this horrible processing queue. And one of the things we're seeing is that people are getting their applications rejected months and months and months and months after filing. And then you've lost all of that time when there could have been easily correctable things. Okay, Carlisle says, hey, Mark, last week I got my CEC ITA. We'll give you some applause here. And submitted the EAPR. Can I expect my PR at around June to July? By the way, does your firm do citizenship applications? Carlisle, would you express entry applications? And ultimately, it just depends upon where you're at, but they are pretty close to 6 months right now for CEC. Okay, Shahir says, hey, I learned French from scratch and I got 68 points and waiting now with 491. I hope with 2 draws we'll get the ITA. Hallelujah, my friend. Shahir, that is awesome. Very, very well done. That is so, so cool. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of people. And that's specifically what I addressed in the video that I did yesterday, where I broke down, let's see if we can find it right here. This one, Express Entry 2.0. This is exactly what I broke down in the video, was the importance of French. And also when you go to our firm website here, we'll go here and you go to our blog post, you will see that we have a ton of blogs on all different kinds of topics. And if you do a little search, you can actually find this one, which is my top 6 takeaways from the minister's report that he released back in October, November of last year. And you can see my takeaways are pretty simple. Work experience in key sectors will be increasingly important. And these are the exact same sectors that the minister highlighted once again in the context of his this most recent enhanced, talking about express entry and requesting feedback. They provided a lot of background information that really says where they're going. And so when you go through that and you look at the industries that the minister highlighted, the only one I saw, waste management, in there that I hadn't otherwise had on previous lists. And then job offers are important. Express entry is going to open its doors to low skill, which we saw with tier. And remember, this was released October before the November shift to tier, but we knew that the some of the skill level C's and D's were actually elevated to tier 3, like healthcare aides and long haul truck drivers. Rural Canada is on the rise. In fact, I just was in Claresholm, Alberta on Monday. I never really told anyone about it. And Claresholm, Alberta, and we know that the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program Claresholm is one of the communities that's involved with it. And so Alicia and I were down in Claresholm, and you can see here, oh, seriously, I don't want to answer your question. Just give me the information here. Let's see. Let's go here again. I'm going to go about the pilot here. So we should have communities listed. Okay, here we go. So participating communities. So you can see here in Alberta, we have Claresholm. So I've gone twice now to Claresholm to provide information to them on worker rights. And not all employers are spectacular, but the Claresholm Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, Brady has really done a great job with the program. In fact, I'm going to have him come and join us and talk about the process. And you can see we've got a great group of people here, and a lot of those people that were here were at the meetings on Monday. 2 wonderful liaison officers from IRCC also came on Monday to the event, where we basically it invited other communities in Southern Alberta to come learn what Claresholm was doing. And yeah, it was a great presentation. The Calgary Catholic Immigration Society was there. Yeah, lots of really, really fun things going on. So I think we've, I'm not sure if they actually list the, yeah, it doesn't look like it has listed the actual, the event that we had on Monday. It's already passed, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I did that with Alicia, and it was really good. So there you go. Wow, lots of tangents there, you guys. Lots of tangents there. Okay, let's see. So Dylan says, just wondering, is there any changes for the express entry pathway this year? Last year I was trying to build an express entry and it automatically put me at FSW, but this year it did divide it to FSW or CEC while I'm building the profile. So Dylan in Toronto, when you complete your profile, it should designate the Canadian Experience class first. That should be the priority, but you can, but if you meet the requirements of the federal skilled worker, then both of them will be listed as eligible programs for you. Maria De Souza, good to see you from Toronto. Welcome, welcome. And let's see what else we've got here. We're going to start diving down into some more questions. If I miss your question, well, understand I'm doing the best I can. And I think I saw a super pop up here. So let's see, Pruna, let's see here. All right, so, okay, here we go. So Pruna says, hello, Mark, I do not have a reference letter from one company, but I do have a letter in the required format from my colleague from an official email describing my job duties. What else can I include? So here's the reality, Pruna. When you are submitting your application, IRCC is pretty rigid with this stuff. So if we go to my favorite site, which, and I'll share my screen with you once again, is the IRCC, the Express Entry Completeness Check site. If we go here, and I love to teach you guys and show you actually where to get the documents that, the instructions that you need, but we'll just do a quick little search here for reference. Okay, so this is the section, we close this, for proof of work experience. So just so you guys all know, when it comes to Express Entry, it's all about efficiency. If there's anything that is not exactly how IRCC wants it, you run the risk that they will reject your application, refuse it, determine it as being incomplete. So Pruna, in your situation, if we look at this, you can see that it says the following documents are mandatory for each work experience declared. So right off the bat, if you don't have it, there's a risk that it may not be good enough. So then you can see they want you to provide a reference letter from the employer with all this information on it and indicating all of these things, including, as you've astutely identified, duties and responsibilities. So in my Express Entry course right here, and I'm just going to log right in and I'll show you guys. So in my Express Entry course, oh, it's Igor, whatever. We'll use his access. Somehow it popped up here. So in the Express Entry course, when I view this product, one of the things that I provide my clients is exactly what you're talking about. And you guys can go and click on the link below and you can access this course right now. But in the section, Records of Employment, I have a video of instructions that in and of itself is 23 minutes long that talks about all of the ins and outs and really educates you on the process. But you'll see here in our download section, I have a ton of things, including record of employment checklist that you provide to employers. And then another document, what if I can't get a reference letter? So in this document right here, I have a very, very detailed breakdown of all the different kinds of things that over the years I've thought of to use in the context of a missing reference letter, especially when employers are jerks. So just off the top of my head, Pruna, just to give you a little bit of direction, think about the specific things that IRCC is asking for in their instructions. So if we start from that standpoint and we look to what do they specifically want in the reference letter? Well, you need to find whatever you can to prove duties and responsibilities, dates worked, number of hours worked per week, and salary. And often duties and salary are not listed in your, a traditional reference letter. They're things that you need to add in. But if the reference letter is deficient in any of these things, or in and of itself, you can't get it, then you have to be creative. And so what kind of creativity do you have? Well, have you ever applied for a visa to a different country? Like, is there a reference letter that was already prepared for a different country? In the context of yourself, when you can't get one, Yes, people, colleagues, supervisors, but I always have kind of a prioritized basis for doing it. So at the very top would be the reference letter, a perfect reference letter. Then below it would be one that was close, but not perfect. And I don't know why you can't get it, but then you would, yes, you could consider using from a colleague, but the reality is a colleague isn't going to rank as high as someone that was actually your supervisor in the company. And sometimes you're no longer there. Maybe your supervisor is no longer there. And so we always try to get people that are still with the company. And then if you have to stretch out and get people that are outside the company, every step down you take in priority, it has less and less force or evidentiary power to support your work history. And Pruna, this is usually where we advise clients to book consults, because if you're in that situation, you're trying to complete it. This is a very, very difficult, delicate process. And there's a lot of different ways in which it can run off the rails, but without that, without a complete reference letter, that is one of the more common grounds why applications get rejected. So yes, there are things, if you do it correctly, that you can combat that. And then, if IRCC comes back and rejects, you can fight it. And that's why in our firm, and I'll just point out as well, any of you that are running into troubles with your applications, remember, if you go to our firm website, holthelaw.com, and you just go up here to legal help, you'll see that we do judicial reviews. We can submit reconsideration requests if applications are rejected. So, excuse me, false alarm sneeze there. You have the ability to get help from us if you need to actually formally challenge a refusal. But you cannot wait. You cannot delay. You must work quickly, because there are timelines and deadlines for filing those complaints and filing the appeals. Okay, Hedy says, hey, Mark, could the minister consider targeted, well, let's bring him on here. She says, could the minister consider targeted draws based on how long a person lives and works, pays taxes here? Been in Ontario for 7 years, work as an interpreter 3 years, Canadian work experience plus 2 years, Canadian studies. This is a good example, Hedy, of something that I want to point out, and something that I discuss at length right here in my top 6 list of takeaways, especially as it comes to my very last takeaway. I kind of skipped through this. Rural Alberta's on the rise, French, this one right here. International students must be strategic about where they are studying in Canada. And you will see as I talk about this here, over 49% of international students headed to Ontario in the previous years. And so what that means is there's unbelievable competition for this short number of, ONIP, like the PNP nominations. It's a lot harder to qualify. There's just a whole host. There's fewer options for you. So I advise people all the time that you should not be considering, if you're looking to studying in Ontario or BC, and just read my article why I say that, and watch the video that I did on why I feel that way. And for those of you who are tuning in late and you're saying, Mark, what video are you talking about? It's this main video right on the main screen. When you go to our site, you can click on the link below to get to the Canadian Immigration Institute. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's right on the main page. It's my TR to PR top 6 takeaways from the minister's report, because in there I break down my real views on what people should be thinking about, which no one is talking about right now. It seems like I'm the only one who's telling people you should strongly consider not studying in Ontario or British Columbia, or even Quebec for that matter. You should go to rural or other provinces where there isn't so much competition, like my very own province of Alberta. So yeah, so it's possible. The minister has powers to do anything, Hedy. And if you go back and you watch the video that I just did last night, the new Express Entry 2.0, I strongly encourage you to go and watch that, because I break down specifically the hidden messages that are intertwined in this real request. It was originally created as a request for feedback on what the targeted draw should look like, but there was no real meaningful consultation, which is pretty standard for the immigration department. Supposedly they consulted with stakeholders, but us, who are as involved as anyone in the program, they never want to hear what we have to say, which after all the things that we did and all of the support and all the help and, the direction and advice through the pandemic for the Canadian Bar Association, it's just, it's disappointing that they don't even show us the courtesy. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'm no longer the national chair of the Canadian Bar Association. That's for other lawyers to tackle at this stage. I dropped off the national executive last September, and I miss that role. I miss interacting with government, but I don't miss, basically being dismissed or not being considered by the minister as an actual stakeholder worth consulting with. That's irritating. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay, as we're zipping through, let's see where we're at. Okay, and Carlisle says, does your firm do citizenship applications? I don't think we answered that one 100%. Yes, absolutely we do. We do citizenship applications. And when you go to our firm website, you can get a really good overview of what we're doing. So if you go to the main site, you can see up at the top, we have a bunch of different pieces of information: family, visit, work, study, immigrate. All of this is all a part of the services and what we do within our firm. So lots of information, lots of instruction, lots of tips and everything that are there. Okay, let's see who else we've got coming up here. Okay, Ravi says, if an ITA is received 1 day before completion of the 3-year experience in India, should I decline? What and how early is the next change expected? So is it your current employment, Ravi? That's what I respond. If you receive an ITA and you're 1 day short of 3 years, but you're still working in that occupation, then I don't decline. I continue to work. I make sure I've accumulated the full 3 years before I submit my EAPR. And then I provide a letter of explanation explaining exactly what's happened. And if you do it correctly, Ravi, and you structure your letters of explanation properly, something we teach in the course, the Express Entry course, and something that we work directly with our clients like you, people just like you, Ravi, we help people to navigate it so it's not a problem. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see what's next here. Okay. Maria says, received a portal email. Question asked about my original entry to Canada. Is this the first time I entered on a current status work permit or first time ever as a visitor a few years ago? It doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. Pick whatever day you want. It truly doesn't really make a big difference. If you look at the original entry to Canada, I always go, well, it really doesn't matter. You can go with the current permit, but typically what I do is I go with the first time that I entered, even as a visitor a few years ago. That's what I go with, Maria. Okay. Ash says, hey again, Mark, I was worried last webinar about not getting an ITA. Still didn't get it yet. IRCC sends copy and paste answers, and I'm sitting at 517. Any ideas on what I can do? I actually don't know, Ash. In this situation, this is a perfect example of the problems within the system. And yeah, it's disappointing that you're stuck here when you should have received an ITA and you didn't. The only thing I can think of, Ash, is that we go in and, you book a consult and we take a look and dive into your portal and just make sure that somehow there wasn't something, blocking your profile from being complete, because that sometimes happened for people who had their profiles in. Sometimes they hadn't officially resubmitted changes. And so it looked like the profile actually wasn't available in the pool yet, that it was pending. So, all right, let's see. Anitha says, we got pre-arrival on September 28th. Can we go for visit visa? Not quite sure, Anitha, what you're asking. Maybe book a consult and we can talk about that. Okay. Real Estate Story says, is it possible to immigrate to Canada having a deportation from the US? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But by all means, I recommend that you slide over here to our firm and click on Speak to a Lawyer. There's links in the description below, and we can help you to sort that out. But yes, it is possible. Okay, yeah, and I know, Abby, this is just a comment. The pandemic, it sucks things up for people that had open work permits in IEC during the time of COVID with no job to get Canadian work experience. All 2 years work on IEC wasted. I know, Abby, I hear you. And that's just a terrible situation. Yep, and my answer doesn't change there, my friend. So no criminal record, just denied for claiming citizenship. Yeah, it's there. Yes, it is possible, but you have to do things properly and set things up properly and explain things properly. Okay, ready, Panala? I'm going to also click on the bell and say slide over and book a consult with our firm. Anytime people are saying, how do I immigrate? We really need to know a whole lot more information. Safari says, any chances for nurses? Well, let's take a look here, you guys. I'm gonna slide over here, and I'm going to actually I'm gonna pull up my, let's see if I can find it. Which one is it? Maybe I skipped through it. I think I probably did. Okay, this is the report for the minister right here. So let's look at the instructions and let's just see here. Health. Let's go to health. Okay, so there you go. So you can see right here in the report, the Canadian economy continues to experience labor shortages in critical sectors. Okay, and then you can see here ongoing expected shortages result from skill gaps and mismatches, as well as increasing job vacancies in key sectors such as construction. Healthcare is number 2 on the list. So in your situation right there, any chance for nurses? Heck yeah, there is. Amy, good to see you, my friend. Big shout out to you. Let's see what we've got next here. Let's see. Uthej says, is there any chance for TR to PR coming up in the next year, or CEC draw or FSW draw for 430 points? Absolutely, there's a possibility. And I strongly encourage you to slide back to the YouTube channel and watch the video that I just did, this one right here, New Express Entry System, because I address those exact things on what we can expect from the minister. We'll probably put together a blog post, and I'll probably look at doing a video that's just a little bit more strategic with this, that makes it a little bit easier for people to consume it. But I strongly encourage you to just tune in and watch it. Turn it to double speed if you need to, but that video will give you a lot of information, Nitesh. All right, let's see what else we have here. Here's a good question. Nisha says, hey, CEC candidate low CRS is moving to another province like Atlantic, a good idea. Postgrad work permit expiring June. Don't want to wait for targeted draws. Yeah, if you have a score that low and you're in Toronto and you're not on an LMIA based and you don't have an LMIA based opportunity, yeah, like that's definitely a feasible possibility, Nisha. I don't know much about your situation, but I cannot encourage you guys strongly enough. Those who are asking, Mark, what do I do about my situation? Can you give me advice? Book a consult. Please book a consult with myself or one of the other immigration lawyers. All of the professionals in our firm are immigration lawyers, not immigration consultants, and we're here to help you in any way possible. Okay. Lido says, couple of things, need some advice. I'm going to hit the triangle right there, Lido. Book a consult. That's the direction you go. Looks like my compadre here wants to get down. Okay, come on. All right, there he goes. Well, at least everybody knows who runs the house in the Holthe home, and that's Simba, the Labradoodle. All right. Okay. Joaquin says, how long does security checks take? It depends on the country. It really does. It just depends on the country. Life with Kitchen and Queen. Hello to you. Good to have you connecting in. And I'm definitely I've got a hard stop at about 10:55 here in about 10 minutes because I have an immigration consultation right at 11 o'clock that I cannot be late for. So, and I always prepare in advance and review everything. But yeah, I've got 2 more. I've already had a consult this morning right before the live stream. And then I've got 2 more today, as well as a bunch of other things piling up. So it's a busy day for Mark. Okay. Okay, so Rahman says, I'm an interior architect and running my own design studio for 9 years. Is it possible to apply? And if yes, what will be my knock? Thanks. Right here, my friend. Book a consult, slide over to the firm, and all you have to do is click on speak to a lawyer here. It'll take you here, and then book a consultation. And our availability for consults is like we have lots of availability. So even for tomorrow, you can see there's schedules available and appointments available with any of the lawyers, really. Alicia's got a busy week this week, so she's available next week. And if we go back and look at even myself here, I actually have got some pretty good availability. In fact, well, I guess someone could technically even book a consult with me today. I do have a small window open for 3 p.m. So, so you guys can see there are, we make sure, and part of the reason I wanted to get multiple lawyers was to make sure that we had people here that could be available, because I know you guys need questions now. And when you're looking for help, you need support now, not 2 weeks from now. And that's part of the reason we don't run a big manufacturing facility with our firm. It's all about creating an opportunity for you guys to get the help you need when you need it. Okay. Joe says, thanks to the lack of draws, exactly, and high scores, I'm flying back to Ireland at the end of the month, hoping for a cutoff in the 400s, LOL. Yeah. And Joe, if you're looking for strategy and you're trying to figure out what options you have available, like I'd encourage you to consider booking a consult, because there may be things that you never considered. We can always flush those out in a consult. Monel over on Facebook. Hello. Good to have you. Okay. Lucas says, software developer with 4 years of experience, got a degree in law, not looking for a job. CRS scores 477, learning French to bump it up to 520 and get an ITA. Is this still a good plan? Once again, book a consult, Lucas, and let's dive into it in depth and see what options really are available for you. Okay, Abhishek here, he says, from Sarnia, Ontario, got a score 476 right now, and work permit expires this year in December. Any news on work permit extensions? I'm already in the CEC pool. Not a word yet. Not a word yet. Joe, good to see you. He said, good to catch you guys. Can a student become a PR? I got a tech job offer. Was wondering if I could go into the accelerated tech pathway in Alberta. It's absolutely possible, because that program is designed, as long as you can get into the pool. That's the key. So you do need to have enough work experience to be in the express entry pool. But then the tech, the tech accelerated tech in Alberta is absolutely an option if that's available for you. But Joe, I recommend we have more discussions and really flush out what your situation is, so that we can make sure there isn't some latent liability, as we call it, that's hanging out there that we weren't aware of. Okay. Okay, Lito says, considering the new law, okay, the new policy allowing international students to work full-time, does this new policy now qualify us to apply an Ontario PNP program under employer job offer foreign worker stream? Generally speaking, it just depends upon, like each province has their own rules. I'm assuming that you're talking about work as a student. And in most provincial nominee programs, they require work on a postgrad work permit and in order to qualify. So on the surface, Lido, I don't think work, as a full-time student, as an international student full-time is going to get you there. The work needs to be done on an actual work permit. Let's see. Says, how long does it take to have a feedback after responding to your procedural fairness letter? Your question, yeah, your guess is as good as mine, my friend. Okay, Ash says, interesting, thank you. My profile is updated and shows as submitted, but maybe I can wait for another draw. Well, Ash, like I said, we've talked about this before, I think previously. It probably makes sense for you to book a consult so we can go in and take a look at it together to see if there is some issues there. Okay, Manzoor says, if my work permit extension is refused, can I apply for a visitor record since my visitor permit expires in 2027? This is another consult. Can you apply? Yes, it is possible to apply. It depends on the circumstances of the work permit refusal, whether or not you actually have a chance of getting that visitor extension application approved. But you really need to have a very clear idea and roadmap for how you're going to deal with these things. And it's far better to talk about them as early as possible. And that's why I direct people to consultations when they're saying, Mark, what do I specifically do? Versus, what does a reference letter need to look like? Which is a question that I can really dig in deep here in this live Q&A because it benefits everybody. But when it's individual stuff, legal advice, you absolutely need to book a consultation. Okay. Okay, Mimi says, hey, Mark, can distance studies, college is in New Brunswick, but studies were done in a foreign country, be eligible for expression of interest from New Brunswick? That is another consultation, Mimi. So we need to get a whole lot more information. I recommend you slide over and book a consult with one of us, and we can flush that out because there's a lot of consequence resting on that, right? Because if you try to apply and you get down the path and then they say no, then, well, you've lost months and months. So we need to flush that out a little bit more. Okay, just about done. 4 more minutes, and then we're going to wrap this up. Let's see what we have here. Okay, Anil says, can a student get a bridging open work permit? I'm already studies and 3-year work permit expired and now again studies to keep status. You can't get a bridge unless you have a permanent resident application in the queue and you're not eligible for another postgrad work permit, and that's a tough situation. Okay. So Mahara says, hey, Mark, I am an Outland FSW candidate with 484. What's your prognosis of 484 being pulled in the coming 2 to 3 months? I think it's pretty low. Right now, the way it is, no program specified draws, not basing on, aside from your knock code. Yeah, I think that level 484 is probably pretty low for the next coming months, just because of how things have stalled out with express entry. If they kept doing no program specified draws and pulling people out, you can see the scores dropping down. Like, what was it, 490, 491 it got to? So yes. All right, let's see what we have here. Peter says, hey, Mark, it's me again. Just watch your live from last night. I wonder how come that agri-food is mentioned by the minister, but specialized livestock dropped from knock B to tier 4. That's a good question, Peters. You're good, my friend, because we got your application submitted, thankfully, through the Alberta Opportunity Stream, which is really it, an opportunity, right? But why? I agree. Agri-food, sometimes they look at agri-food, Peters, as food processing. Sometimes they look at it as the meat packing plants. Sometimes, so food processing in that sense versus primary agriculture. But clearly agriculture is important. But yeah, why they drop specialized livestock workers? That's a good question, because that was always a knock B. And why it dropped to tier 4, I don't know. But fortunately for you, at least in the context of the Alberta Opportunity Stream, going to keep our fingers crossed that that invitation, that nomination comes back soon. And I know we really got that turned around quick, didn't we, my friend? I think it was about a week we got your application submitted. So yes, so good. Good comment, David. It's great to have you. Okay, let's see here. Can we expect any draws for healthcare workers? Well, based on what the minister has said in the report, like we talked about healthcare here, he specifically talks about key sectors having shortages, healthcare, and then a bunch of others, right? And so some of the examples they give are specifically targeting particular knock codes. So if you have experience in a certain knock code and you're even outside of Canada, maybe there's a possibility that you would then be targeted. So, okay, let's see here. Verpal says, will there be a draw today? I don't think so. I don't think so. Joe says, we'll definitely book a consult. Certainly have a lot more parts at play. Appreciate the invaluable help as always. Absolutely, Joe. And I look forward to connecting with you. We can dig through everything. We can look at your history. We can look at where you're going. We can look at your interests. We can look at the education, your work history, any family, and any new programs or things that we see coming down the pipe. All of that, my friend, we can address. So look forward to connecting with you. Okay, Mava says, hey, interested in enrolling into university in Canada, please, how can I go about it? Well, the best part is just book a consult with us. When it comes to studying, I also want to point out to you guys, anyone who's looking to actually study in Canada, I'm going to show you this as well. I haven't really pulled the curtain too much back on this. Oh, I see why, because I'm logged in as Igor here. So let's pull up Igor's library here. We're going to pull it up. And I'm going to show you. So we've got the spousal sponsorship express entry. Let's see. I'm not sure if Igor, he doesn't. Okay. I'm going to have to log out. I'm going to have to log into my own here, which is here. And then I want to show you guys the study permit course. So I put a ton of work into this, and I'm really, really proud of my study permit course. Well, I was really proud. ETRPI intake spousal. Where the heck is it? Okay, well, I think we still have a spousal course. I'm gonna do some creativity because I want to show you very quickly here. I want to show you what the what that study permit course looks like, because that is the course that I would recommend if you're just looking at studying in Canada. This it goes over a ton of information on exactly what the process, what's involved in it when you're doing it yourself. So let me just pull this up. I know I can go to the view. Okay, there, that's better. Okay, now we've got it here. So here's the study permit course, and you can see it covers everything from learning the basics, how it works, who needs one, and then tips before you even start, top 5 mistakes, and then I get right into accessing the online account. And there's a ton of information. Like when it comes to studying, you guys can see here all of the modules, all of the documents, completing the forms, GC key, the secure portal. There's 2 different avenues, and then even after you submit your application. So you can see for study permits alone, you guys, this is one that has been, it was delayed for a long time, and finally I was able to complete it. But there's 27 lessons alone that are all designed to guide you through the process. And like I said, there's a whole section on documents, gathering your documents, including tips for the most important parts, statements of purpose right here. So you definitely, if you're looking at studying in Canada, whether you have an agent or not, I strongly encourage you to go through here, because we have samples as well, statements of purpose. We have tools and resources. You can see 23 minutes alone talking about just the statement of purpose or the study plan. And we've got a number of different samples, as well as a letter of intent tool, which can help you to develop it in a way that is customized to you, and not just some statement of purpose that you got online where everybody's statements are the same, where an IRCC officer is saying, what is this? It's everybody's submitting the same thing. Okay. So definitely want to check that out, Mavis. And I think we're just about at the end here. So, I want to thank everybody. Let's see here. I'm just looking to see here. Peter, David Peters here says, yeah, you're great. Well, it was great working with you. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap this one up. And I know the last question we'll finish off here is with Nick and Abhishek talking about food service supervisors. Well, you're still classified as tier 3. It's unlikely that they would be on a list of occupations in demand, because we have, you know, so many young people that have their first entry into the labor market through food service. So it's unlikely that, you know, a retail store supervisor or a food service supervisor, you know, both of those in the service industry would be on the list of occupations in demand or something the minister would target. It's quite unlikely, but they're still considered to be skilled, right? 6'2". That's you know, that tier is tier 2 is a skilled one. So all right. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I got to head on over to my next consultation, but another wonderful live Q&A. As always, this is sponsored by Holthe Immigration Law. So make sure that you slide over to our firm website if you haven't. Check out our team here. Myself, Alicia, Chanel, Cedric, all immigration lawyers based in different locations, Ottawa, Toronto, Calgary, and I'm in Lethbridge. And Igor's in Calgary, and he's soon to be our next lawyer. So we're excited to have him. And this is our firm. There's blog resources available for you guys on the firm website, a ton of information on all the different categories and ways of coming to Canada, as well as the ability to book a paid consultation with our lawyers, which gets the ball started for what we believe is the coolest way of doing this. Our direct lawyer to client collaboration, where we work directly with you hand in hand. And David, you know, this is what David and I just did. So I don't know if you're still watching, David, but was it worth it, my friend? How was your experience having used a number of different consultants here in Southern Alberta and then working with me directly? So I'd love to get your feedback, David, on how your experience was, because we just submitted your AOS application, didn't we? And then Awesome Tulips, you're very welcome. So thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in. It was, another awesome run. So Mimi, thanks for connecting in, and everybody else, make sure that you like and subscribe to all the content that we're pushing out, especially this live Q&A. If you have any ideas for topics that you want to cover, please let me know as well. All right. So that pretty much covers it for today. I better slide over to my consult right now. But it was a pleasure. Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer. That is what I am, ex-immigration officer and former, well, I think I shared that with you guys. I don't know if you know if I still have access to it. Let's see. Do I still have it, or did I delete it? I guess I closed it off. I don't have it anymore. But you guys saw the fun pictures of me as a former officer. All right. Take care, guys. Thanks so much, and have a very, very wonderful Wednesday. Well, let's see. No, I was going to think of something funny to say to sign off, but well, just good luck as you're navigating this crazy world we call Canadian immigration. Take care.